Uh, Hi, already you have got my brief biodata through Madam. So today I'm going to present a topic that is a little bit relevant today because we want to be always everyone wants to be entrepreneur. So I'm going to talk about detailed project report preparation, that is DPR preparation, which is required very much required today because we to start a dairy plant we need some financial help from various financial institution or any kind of, if you want to avail any kind of scheme from government or bodies like MOAPI, NABARD. So you need to prepare DPR. You need to submit a DPRs. If people don't know what you want actually, then they won't be able to help you in terms of financial or whatever help you need. So for that, I just want to make you aware, or just I want to guide you how to prepare a DPR for if you want to set up a dairy plant. So let's start. Today's scheme of presentations are, I will just tell briefly about dairy industry, present situation, then what are the major challenges we are facing today, and what are the importance of DPR, that is detailed project report preparation to start a dairy business, then inputs required for DPR preparation, then what are the steps we need for DPR preparation. So dairy industry today, world milk one mistake is there. World milk production is around uh, 981 million tons. That is world milk production, and the growth rate is around 1.5%. And India's situation is quite impressive. India is the first largest milk producer in the world, and its growth rate is around 3.78, and total milk production is around 239.30 million tons. And this is the data of 2 years back. So now we have already crossed 250 million tons. So now you see most of the milk that we consume, we know that in most of the milk is confined to unorganized sector, and organized sector is still in an infancy because they are not able to utilize most of the milk. So whatever milk we utilize, that is mostly we use as liquid milk, that is around 46%, and remaining 54% normally we convert to paneer, makhan, ghee, milk powder, cheese, butter, etc. So we all know that because we daily every day we consume it. So per capita availability means per person per day availability is around, in India it is 471 71 gram per day, and that is more than the world average. World average availability is around 329 gram per day. So we are at very good situation in terms of milk production and availability. So that is the basic scenario of dairy industry. You can say the data is taken from the uh, uh, dairy husbandry, Ministry of Dairy, Animal and Dairy Husbandry. So what are the major challenges and scopes are available if you want to be an entrepreneur? So what are the major challenges normally face? See, now around 52% of whatever milk we available, that is for commercial uses, and remaining 48% is used by the households. Means small entrepreneur you can say, or normally village households we say, small farmers you can say. So they are using the 48%, or they are using directly consuming as such, or they're converting to various products. So so that is the biggest challenge, how to convert this unorganized sector to organized one. So otherwise the dairy industry, growth of dairy industry uh, will be in challenge in future. So that is our major challenge for dairy industry. And so if we want to do so, what are the things we need to do? So we need to enhance the skill of stakeholders, we have to create awareness regarding the scientific and technological developments. We need to transfer technologies to the end users like farmers. Then we need to provide uh, assistance to the farmers or who develop technologies through various linkages among institution, industry, entrepreneurs, and farmers. So these are the things we need to do to improve. Then only we can help to develop dairy-based entrepreneurs, and we can encourage dairy-based entrepreneurship. Now you see what is the important. As I was telling at the beginning, what is the importance of a DPR, detailed project report preparation, to start a dairy business. The importance is, if you want to get help from any kind of Financial institutions like bank or any funding agencies like MOPI, DHD, MSME, NABARD. So you need to have some report in terms of data, what you want actually. They should have some idea. So you should have some background in the form of paper. So that paper, there are several consultants available. Like in Delhi, you will see Suruchi consultants are there. In Mumbai, Dr. JB Parekh, he's a great consultant. In Global Agri System in Gurgaon, so many consultants are available to provide consultancy. So you can get consultancy from to get kind of detailed project report. So they charge a lot of money for preparation of detailed project report that you need to take help from the financial institutions. So now there are few basic things. So obviously DPR is very important. So there are few basic things we need to prepare a DPR. What are the basic things? We need to we need to go through few steps. What are the steps? Like inception, we need to first step is inception, then survey, analysis of information, then planning, then techno-economical feasibility study, detailed engineering. These are the steps. Then finally we can prepare DPR. Now you see, in what is inception, we need to generate some idea what we want actually. What we want means what kind of dairy plant we want to set up, small, medium, what kind of milk availability, what kind of product you want to sell. So based on that, you have to generate some idea. I want to do business. I want to do this kind of business. I want to sell dahi. I want to sell ghee. I want to sell paneer. I want to sell something. So you have to generate some idea. You have to make. If you are thinking to be an entrepreneur, you should have some rough planning. So that is inception. That should be generated should be within you, the entrepreneur who wants to be an entrepreneur. That is the inception. Then survey, you have to make some survey, or you have to take help from the consultants how to do a survey. That may be in terms of technical survey, or it may be economical perspective. So you have to collect the data, means what kind of product consumers are preferring, or you at the area where you want to sell actually, or there are several things. If you want to set up a dairy plant, yeah, there are several technical inputs you need. What kind of milk available? It's buffalo milk, cow milk. It's all means kind of fat, SNF, and legal aspect, then electricity availability, water availability, then socio-economic status of the surroundings. Everything is important. So you need to collect all the data. Then what kind of product you want to sell, what kind of product demands are more. So these are the things you need to make a lot of questionnaires, and you need to collect the information accordingly. That is the part of survey. Where there is a process. Normally dairy consultants, they charge huge money for this survey. So that is the key things if you want to start a dairy plant, or if you are planning for uh, becoming becoming an entrepreneur. So that is the thing you need to do at the very beginning. Then analysis of whatever information you have collected during survey, you need to analyze it properly, so that mistakes in future, that will be minimum. So error should be minimum. As we do in case of research, we collect lot of data. This duplicate, triplicate, whatever, four times, five times we do analysis, then we come to conclusion, so that we can minimize the errors. That is the process of minimizing errors. We analyze the collected information, then go for final decision. What kind of entrepreneur you want to become? Then planning, based on the informations, whatever you have collected, you have to go through planning. The planning team, there is a specific team you need to build for planning. Part of planning team will be an architect, then a dairy technologist, an executive, the executive whose duty may be financial control. Finance people should be there. Then consultant engineer. So these are the people who should be helping you. Then specialist engineer to plan services such as ventilation, refrigeration, steam production may be needed. So these are the things we need to when we are doing planning. We need to prepare a planning team. So these people will be part of planning team, because otherwise there may be any mistake. So always we try to minimize mistakes, because finance is involved here. capital cost is involved here. So now, whatever technical inputs we get, we go for techno-economical feasibility study. Techno-economical, is it feasible? Is it possible if we set up a dairy plant of 20,000 liter per day? So is it possible if we are proposing, I want to set up a 20,000 liter dairy plant per day that can handle per day. So is it possible if we prepare product from that 20,000 liter or do something? Is it possible to sell all the product or handle 20,000 liter? Is it technically feasible or sale and purchase that is going well? So you need to analyze it properly. So dairy consultants are that they play a very important and very important role in this feasibility study. So that is the thing you need to be careful when we are doing the analysis of information. Next, detailed engineering design. This is absolutely for a layman or for the person who wants to become an entrepreneur. This part cannot be done by him. Only dairy consultants they can do, or the equipment manufacturing companies, or the expert who are habituated with this kind of work, or process engineer like dairy process engineer. They can do this work. That is detailed in process engineering, or you can say this is the base or heart of this dairy plant design. And you can say uh, uh, for any kind of, if you want to start a dairy business, this is the heart of the DPR. So you need to prepare questionnaires first for detail engineering. I mean, detailed questionnaires mean what is the capacity of dairy plant, what kind of milk you are going to receive, cow milk, buffalo milk. Each milk has its own specific own fat percentage, SNA percentage. Based on that, you need to prepare some. I mean, when you are going to receive, morning how much, evening how much. There are a lot of things. So I will show you later. Lot of things you need to keep in mind. Then what kind of product you want to prepare? It is liquid milk, in liquid milk, it's standardized milk, toned milk, double toned milk. What kind of milk it is you want to prepare? Or cow milk, buffalo milk. Then package mix. Package mix, you want to pack in bottle. If you want to pack in 500 ml bottle, 1 liter bottle, or it is in pouch pack, 500 or 500 ml or 1000 ml, means uh, uh, 1 liter packet or 500 ml packet. If you want to pack something in cups, cones. So there are a lot of things. Whatever we get available easily in market, that is not so easy to prepare. You need to keep in mind. So there are a lot of engineering involved. So all these informations are important because we are going to invest money to purchase equipment. So all these information is important, and it is required to analyze this information so that correct equipment is purchased and no money is wasted. That is very important. So whatever milk available and whatever product we want to prepare, based on that we can prepare some mass balance. Mass balance means input and output should be balanced properly so that minimum economic loss or economy, what you can say, you can generate some money from there. Means profit should be there, mass balance should be done so that you can distribute the material properly. The input and output can be balanced in proper manner. Then you need to prepare some design basis based on the product, its process. So you need to prepare that design basis, what we want, what kind of product we want to prepare. So whatever process you need to follow, all this you need to prepare. Then we need to prepare based on the design basis. We need to finalize the equipment list. What kind of equipment? What should be its capacity? What kind of steel we want in that equipment? Everything you need to specify. Capacity, its material of construction, then where you want to set up it. Everything we need to prepare. So then we need to prepare some process time schedule. Process time schedule, this is very important thing because whenever in future we are planning for planning to operate a dairy plant, so that is normally designed for 24 hours operation. However, you can request, I want to run my dairy plant for 8 hours, or it's maybe for two shifts, 16 hours. Based on that, process time schedule can be prepared. It's very important. The process time schedule, based on this process time schedule, lot of economy can be controlled. So many things are involved that cannot be discussed. It needs a lot of time to discuss process time schedule. Then service requirements, like what should be the quantity of steam you need. Based on that, you can decide the capacity of boiler, what kind of refrigeration system is, what should be this capacity. It is vapor compression refrigeration system you want, or vapor absorption refrigeration system you want. So everything, or what kind of compressors you want, everything can be decided based on your requirement of refrigeration. Refrigeration normally in dairy plant, normally it is used in cold storages or chilling of product. Everywhere refrigeration is very important, because dairy, dairy and dairy products are very perishable, so refrigeration plays very critical role. The refrigeration is important, a lot of cost involved in refrigeration, so service requirement calculations are very important. Then electricity is involved everywhere, not only to illuminate the bulbs and to run the fans or ACs. Electricity is important, very important in dairy plant, mainly to operate the pumps and the motors, wherever motors are. If I talk refrigeration, if we want to run compressor, compression consumes a lot of electricity. So electricity is very important thing. We need to calculate that. Then water requirement, water for cleaning and standardization. Everywhere water is important. For water, you need to install a separate line. So these are the things we need to design, and we go for process design. We need to decide their capacity, everything. That is known as detailed engineering design. These are the major steps involved. Next, finally, detailed project. All After all these, we have to go for detailed project report formulation. In that, whatever we have discussed before, this technical survey and everything, we have to put in the form in a report. So in that report, first we need to write some background, like the project has been planned for village, because the financial institution, they look at very kind of angles, different kind of angles, like at your village or its surroundings, lot of milk is available. Like here, I have proposed a 20,000 liter milk per day. It is kind of case study. So I have proposed 20,000 liter milk per day, that my day we are going to propose. Then, because our village and its surroundings, within 10 kilometer radius, around 20,000 milk is available. That's why, and surplus milk is available. That's why we are planning to set up a dairy plant. But we can plan it. Is it possible to sell the product? Otherwise, we need to plan something else. So here we have written more than 50% of total milk production is going to sweet shops, and remaining milk cannot be channelized properly. So we want to channelize the milk, and we want to bring it to an organized. We want to handle it to in organized manner. That is our objective. Not only that, so we want to control the local economy also. That is our objective. Now, along with that, productions and processing that I was telling, we want to do in organized manner. So overall socioeconomic status means that youngsters, they can be involved in this kind of work. So ultimately, the socioeconomic status improvement is involved. So that mainly the financial institutions or the scheme holders, they used to follow this kind of thing. So whenever we are writing a DPR, we need to write this project background in this manner. This should be the background. Then we need to write objectives, specifically objectives, right? Normal research projects, we write some background, justification, objectives. Here also we need to write objectives. Here we have put, according to the case, we have put two objectives. What are the first objective? We want to uh, first objective is we want to do organized processing of milk and milk products following all food safety norms. That is the first objective. And second objective is we want to uplift the socioeconomic status of the village households and farmers. So that is very important aspects of this from social point of view. So there are several activities and approaches that involved, we can see. So in first objective also, in second objectives also. First objectives, if we want to produce product following all norms and everything with food safety norms, what we need to do? We need to provide training to the farmers, the people who want to supply milk to your dairy plant, proper cooling and storage of milk at production site, proper transport of milk to the collection center and processing plant, then proper design of plant and building, so that processing can be done in a hygienic and clean environment. Because milk is a product food safety is so important. Milk is a product, from kids to the old age people. Everyone is, all age group is, they are consuming this product. So huge age group is there. To, they normally prefer to drink milk, or or prefer to take milk products. So this is the thing, we need to follow proper safety protocols whenever we are planning the hygienic good hygienic practices. That's why it is important to um, train the people who are involved in this first objective. That's why we have said, as organized processing of milk and milk products, which is not presently not there in our village. So that is our first objective, to go for organized production. Next is socio-economic status upliftment. There are several activities in that objective. So that is, we want to build a supply chain. We want to involve people and local youth. We want to involve. Then whatever profit we'll get, we'll distribute to the farmer, like Amul they do. So these are the things. If we do, automatically socio-economic status that will be uplifted. That is our second objective. So these kind of objectives you need to set whenever you are proposing in DPR. Then a technical inputs. This is an example case, as I was telling. This is a case study. We have whatever we have written, that is for 20,000 liter milk handling capacity per day. So here we have written what is the reception pattern, what kind of milk we are going to receive. Here it is written. We can see, we have, as we have proposed, 20,000 liter handling capacity per day. 60% of milk will come in the morning. That time is written there. Time is very important, because milk is a very perishable product. Normally, immediately after milking, we collect it, or farmers, they normally bring it to the chilling center or the production plant. Then 40% evening. Then normally we don't go for separate collection of cow and buffalo milk. What do? We go for collection of mixed milk, cow and buffalo both we collect. Normally, we what we are do what is the reception pattern means, that we are going to receive in can, or we are going to receive in tankers. Everything should be very clear. So design should be as per that reception pattern. Then what kind of product we are going to propose? Here it is written, market milk. Out of 20,000 milk, 14,000 liters will be raw milk, will be utilized to prepare liquid milk, like full cream milk, standardized milk, toned milk, double toned milk. Then we can, remaining 6,000 we can use for preparing or producing products like dahi, paneer. So that distribution should be properly done. The distribution is normally done, mainly the fat and SNF distribution is normally done based on the mass balance. That here it is written, mass balance, then product and package mix, that I was telling. Product, kind of product we are going to prepare, and package we want to prepare. So these mass balance, product mix and package mix are very important to decide the equipment list that I was telling us earlier. We need to prepare equipment list section wise. Then always in project, always people ask what kind of facilities are available, infrastructure and facilities available. The existing facilities you need to disclose. We have existing civil structure, water supply, main electricity supply, transport, manpower. What are the policies of waste management in that local area? It may be municipality or panchayat. Then topography of the land, it is earthquake prone or not, what kind of the landscape is there. So everything you need to disclose. Then they will ask you rough layout of that civil structure, or they may ask for land layout, everything they may ask. Then then they may ask for a tentative project budget. So here I have given a rough cost estimate for 20,000 liter or semi-automatic dairy plant. So here it is given 369 lakh in lakhs. So there are different sections, as I was telling: reception section, milk processing section, paneer section, dahi section, ghee section, CIP cleaning section, then utility section, then cost for installation and commissioning. Then if we want to renovate something in civil and electrical work, because whatever supplies are available, you need to connect it in with the proposed dairy plant. So you need some work in civil and electrical work, and some miscellaneous work maybe, that is not, which is normally we cannot see, but that comes later in our mind, that is given as miscellaneous. That is rough cost estimate you have to give, otherwise financial institution, how they will understand what kind of money what is the type of budget you are thinking for. So you have to give a rough cost estimate. That is most important thing. Then manpower requirement, each and every section you need to depute some people in terms of supervisor, in terms of managerial level worker, or technical staff, operator, or floor level staffs. You need to show it properly section wise. Here we have not segregated. I have given a total number, so that is 24 I have given as per say different section. So now you will see, we have planned that project, prepared the DPR, how we are going to implement that. So you need to give a total timeline, when you want to start it, after getting fund, and by which time you want to complete which activity. That should be written clearly in this project implementation schedule, so that the financial institution or scheme handling agencies, they can understand your means how you want to implement that project. So your objective should be very clear. You are very serious about your project. That should be clearly visible in your DPR. That's why this complete information can give a robust information. So that's it. It's very important. I think this is I am a bit clear about DPR. This is my end slide. If you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you for your patience. Hello.
हाँ सर, हाँ सर.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Any participants have any query?